Now, I was required as a youngster going through my early school years to carry around the biggest American history book and the biggest world history book from class to class. And there was nothing in there about me. So now we're going to put those two books where they belong in the library and bring a book out that will explain to the world how important I am to be in your life.
Wonderful idea.
Yeah, I think it is. And
but you took that seed, you planted it, and you germinated it. I know you need other people to help you along, perhaps, but you came up with that idea.
Because I'm nosy. I want to know. You know, I'm very curious. I'm very curious about me. Why is it that no one knows that someone that looks like me invented the traffic light, or the soles on your shoes, or did the first cataract operation, or, I mean, really invented the telephone, never got credit for it, actually put together Washington, D.C. You know, everybody said, oh, well, that was so-and-so. That was Benjamin Banneker. You know, let's really get to where it's really at. And I also feel, most importantly, this is for my babies, our youngsters, who walk around much like this, and now this will give them a reason to sit like this.
Hold their head
that
high.
Royal, regal place that they're supposed to be at. I think it's going to help an awful lot of people. I think that's the key to peace and understanding. I understand, or was required to, at least attempt to understand the culture of the European and the American Caucasian. I think it's now time that you start to really try to understand me and the rituals that go along with me.
Now, I know this has been in the planning stages for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
How long along are you?
We're at the point now where we're getting ready to do our second round table with all these brilliant minds. What fun that is. And we're going to start it on the primary level, which is where it needs to start, with our kids in kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth grades. And then we'll go into the higher grades of learning. Because this is something I want in our school system. I want it in every library across the world.
Library,
every
universities?
bookstore. I mean, it's a necessary.
On the web?
Absolutely. Anywhere that you can access information, that's where it should be.
Your sense of pride.
Yeah.
For the culture. Let's stay with breaking down the racial barriers.
Mm-hmm.
First African American to sing for the Queen of England. You.
Yeah. First female African American.
First female. Along with your sheroes, if you will.
Yes.
First to win a Grammy in certain categories.
Mm-hmm.
Was it difficult to break down the barriers when you did it?
You know, I never really realized there were barriers. I came along in our industry at a time where, I mean, we were celebrating some brilliant African Americans in our industry, brilliant. And they were the ones breaking down the barriers. You know, when you stop and think of who really laid the foundation for me to step on, people like Lena Horne and Ella Fitzgerald, Sammy Davis Jr., and Nat King Cole. And I had the privilege of sitting with these people and having them embrace me as their baby. And then to enter an industry of recording artists and have the privilege, and there's that wonderful word again, of being able to perform with Sam Cooke and Jackie Wilson and Chuck Jackson and the Shirelles and, I mean, the Drifters, and on and on and on. I mean, I have had an incredible ride thus far, and that's 40 years of riding.
And from getting on that stage first, having Marlene Dietrich bring you on in France.
That was, who's gonna do what, you know? It was like, whoa. You know, Bert conducted for her, and he knew I was going to open at the Olympia, and he made a phone call. He says, the baby's coming over, so take care of her. And that's exactly what she did. She entered the picture like, I'm Mama, I'm here, and this is the way it's going to be done. And that's the way it was done.
Your parents.
Yes.
Measure for me the influence from them upon you.
Absolute. There's no other word. Complete. When God made Mr. and Mrs. Mansell Warwick and decided that I was going to be a part of that family, he made the best decision that could ever been made, insofar as I'm concerned.
Took care of business, right?
Yes, he did. He took care of real business there. My dad passed quite a few years ago. He also happened to be my best buddy. He was on the road with me for quite a while. My mother was on the road with me. She is also, I know she's my mother and she's my parent, but she's also one of my best friends too. And what can you say about parents that give you all the love and encouragement and
I can see it in your eyes.
yeah, you know,
I can see it in your eyes.
It's true. I mean,
they didn't just pave the way for you. They took you by the hand and took the walk with you.
Yes, they did. And my mother still does, you know. She still will, and you know, yes, ma'am. You know, and step back in line, you know.
Not afraid to
No
kick you in the
matter-
butt and get you
got that
moving.
right, and she will, you know.
Not here to patronize you.
No, and that is, I guess, the one thing that she passed on, they both passed on to me in raising my two children. I have two of the greatest guys that ever walked.
But the apple doesn't fall too far from
And
the
it
tree.
sure doesn't, thank God. And I've got 5 wonderful grandchildren, and they're being raised in the same tradition of how I know we have to be raised.
I'm going to start the next question. I just want you to take the ball and go with it.
Okay.
The creative collaboration between Burt Bacharach, Hal David, and yourself.
Well, we were known in the industry as the triangle marriage that worked. Bacharach
Why did it?
wrote some of the greatest melodies that we will ever sing. I mean, and they stand up on their own. Hal David, lyrics that will last forever and ever and ever, long beyond our time. And I am the one that was savvy enough, and they felt had the goods to deliver it to you.
And had that unique voice. We go back to that special, sultry, alto, unique voice.
Yeah, it was, and we had a wonderful friendship. The relationship was more than just music.
Which really makes it really come
Oh
together.
yeah, I mean, they put their feet under my mother's table at dinner, I under theirs. We have traveled together. We talk on the phone all the time. You know what friendships are. And then there was the time when we didn't speak, which is also part of friendship.
But all relationships go through that.
Absolutely, and it was, it likened itself into a major divorce, you know, and it was one that had to be settled. It was, and then we're all back together again, as if nothing had happened.
With that relationship, what are you most proud of when you look back?
The contributions that we've made musically into people's lives, how people have approached me and have said the most incredible things to me regarding the songs. And I think the one thing that really, really lifts me more than anything else when they're talking about a particular song and what it means to them is always a huge smile, you know? And it's difficult to describe being the smile, in part of the smile times of your life. But it's nice to know that I've been a part of that life in that way.
I have a blank canvas, and I want to paint the scenario for you.
Mm-hmm.
Out of all the times you've walked into the recording studio, ready to record one of those great classic Bacharach David songs, Dionne Warwick walks in, steps up to the microphone. Without thinking, automatically, I want you to tell me the song that you were ready to sing with all the feeling and emotion, all the passion that touched you the most right here out of all of them, which one grabbed you from within inside and you sang it with the most amount of feeling and emotion? Automatically you'd say which one?
All of them. Except one.
And that would be?
San Jose.
Because? Really?
I hated it. I hated that song. I mean,
the first Grammy.
Exactly. You know, so at that point in time, it became clear that I was not a criteria as to what I should be recording, okay? No, but each song, and I think basically because they were written for me, every ounce of passion that I could muster was always there. And I must also say I did the very best that I could, even though I hated the song, because it was so much a part of what Hal David wanted me to do. He wrote the lyric. He has a wonderful passion about San Jose. He was stationed there, and it meant that much to him. I said, hey, you got it.
I love the way you I love the way you just took that question, and let's put all those other songs aside, and here's the way, because I loved them all, but I can speak to the one I didn't like the most.
Right.
When you're the first, that's interesting. And that song, how did it change your life for you? Even though you had already recorded before, and you'd already been on tour, but how did that song change your life?
My first Grammy. My goodness, come on. First time I could put a little yellow-looking record up on my wall. And you know, it was also, I was pregnant with my first child. So there were a lot of wonderful firsts associated with the song I hated the most. You know, as I used to say in my show. And so I laughed all the way to the bank. You know, what can I tell you? You know?
That's interesting.
Yeah, but it's now become a song that I love to sing. I re-recorded it as a duet with Celia Cruz, and it just took on another life all of its own. I mean, I really think this is the way it should have been originally recorded.
You two ladies breathed life into that.
Oh, I tell you, she just brings such a spark. I mean, she's such a bundle of
fire.
Oh, tell me about it. That's why she's the queen of salsa.
Lightning and thunder. She's lightning and thunder. And as far as music is concerned, anything special you want to do?
Yeah, I want to do a Broadway show. But I want to do it in lieu of that biography that everyone's saying, when are you going to write a book? I'm not going to write a book. And I'm not going to write a book for many reasons. I think, first of all, my life, as you know it, as my audiences know it, is enough for you to know.
Exactly. Personal life is personal life.
Exactly. And I feel that I want to do a Broadway show based on my life, but it's going to be based on the music. The music will tell my story. And I think that you'll be getting it firsthand. You'll get to know as much about me as you should know. And what you don't know, you shouldn't know.
And what you want to know is double CD of duets.
My friends and me.
This has been a pleasure, Dionne. Thank you so much.
It's been a pleasure for me.
The pleasure's been all mine, but thank you for accepting our invitation, and please come back here anytime.
Ask again, it's done.
You're a great lady.
Thank you.